And we're off. Well, it's April 2024. I am at Appalachian Harley-Davidson in Mechanicsburg, PA. I'm going to be riding a lot of bikes today. And the first is the Road King Special 114. My name is Dave. I am in my 10th year of riding Harleys. I started out on a Sportster XL 1200. Then I got a Dyna Lowrider, and I still have that, and I also have a Street Glide Special. So I'm familiar with those platforms, and today I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the Road King Special and maybe compare it to some of the other bikes I've ridden. So right off the bat, this is a 114, and it's got some guts. I have a 103 high output on my Street Glide, which is about 10 years old. So this is definitely a couple generations newer. It's obviously the Milwaukee 8. I've ridden 107s before, but this is my first time on a 114. And we're not even moving yet, but I can feel from the throttle response, this just really moves you as soon as you touch it. Now granted, Harleys aren't going to be speed demons like sport bikes, but hey, you can haul with this motor, or engine as you prefer. Alright, so right off the bat, the seat is back a little further than I'm accustomed to on my bike. I'm 6 foot tall with 32 inch inseam, but I'm comfortable on this. I think I'd be more comfortable maybe like an inch closer, just because that's the riding position I'm used to on my bikes. If you are 6 foot or taller, you'd probably be very comfortable on this without having to do any mods unless you're really big. A very basic minimalist kind of layout here. You have the speedo on the tank, which is what I have on my lowrider, which personally I don't like. I like how it looks. It looks awesome. But you have to look down quite a bit to see it. So that's just something to be aware of. You've got the fuel gauge on the left side of the tank, which I like also. The windshield so far is doing a nice job. I definitely prefer having a windshield. I feel like the width of the handlebars is a smidge wider than what I'm used to on my Street Glide. Mirrors are great. I can see behind me just fine. I've never done a test ride over here with this dealership, but this is some really nice country. The stock seat is a little on the thin side. They say that they're designed to be comfortable for the 15 minutes you test ride it, but being familiar with stock seats in the past, I could tell this one, it's not bad. I've been on worse, but it just feels like it's a little on the thin side. With pretty much all Harleys, the exhaust note is going to be not what many people think of when they think of Harleys, but that's your EPA at work. So the layout of the buttons is pretty much the same as it's been over the last 10 years. There's a traction control button, but everything else looks like it's just where you would expect it. You've got the key right here in the center. I don't even use the key on mine because of the fob. So this one has a nice gloss black finish on the bars, headlight cover, all that. It's a beautiful billiard gray. Personally, I like the more traditional metallic paint finishes, but I know this is a popular one, and it does look nice. Just overall, the feel of the Harley touring chassis is beautiful, man. It is beautiful. Designed to soak up the miles. It's a little nippy out today. I usually wear a scarf, but I can feel cold air hitting under my chin. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? In the summertime, maybe it's good to have some of that airflow. Even with a windshield, you don't want to be too insulated from the air. So I think this windshield's a nice balance. It's pretty wide as well. So if you're not super familiar with the Road King, it's a touring frame, but there's no fairing on the front. So entertainment center, nav, radio, all those electronics, not there. And some people really like that. Minimalist, more minimalist. Yet, it does have ABS, traction control, and other tech, so that's a good thing. And because it doesn't have those extras, it is a lighter bike compared to the other touring bikes. It doesn't feel heavy at all. I mean, I'm used to a heavier bike anyway, but I think anybody coming from a Softail or Dyna would easily be comfortable on the Road King Special. Well, we certainly got a lot of tight turns in this demo ride. I imagine as the day goes on and I ride more times through here, I'll be hitting those a little more aggressively. No substitute for taking your own test ride, obviously, but nothing jumps out at me as a negative on this bike. It feels really solid and planted. I've always liked the center of gravity feeling on the touring bikes. It makes low speed maneuvers and turns very easy. You feel confidence with those. There is an indicator using the little finger tap here on the left side that toggles the LCD to gear and RPMs. So although you don't have a tach, you can get a little digital readout of that. There's not a lot of vibration in the drivetrain. It's very smooth. The Milwaukee 8 is definitely a smooth engine. It's not going to sound like an Evo engine, even with different exhaust. It'll sound great, but it's different, more modern. Transmission shifts really nicely, 6-speed. Someday I will have a 114. Beautiful engine. So who is the Road King for, right? I've kind of wondered that. It always seemed to me it's kind of like a niche bike. I've always felt like if you're going to get a touring bike, get one with the fairing. You get the nav, the CDs, radio. Oh man, I can't believe I just said CD. I dated myself. MP3, radio, other goodies. But if you strip that out, you get a touring chassis, lower cost. If you're not going to be doing day-long trips, maybe you're just fine without having all that stuff, but you still get the comfort of this chassis with the suspension and everything that you get with it. But there's no rules, right? I mean, people do insanely long rides on Sportsters. you can do anything on any bike, especially if you customize it. Oh, that's beautiful. But generally speaking, if you don't need those extras up front, the Road King's a nice way to get into this class of bike. So wrapping this ride up, very comfortable bike, very enjoyable to ride. If you're thinking Road King, definitely test ride some of them. But I think it's just like you would expect. Nothing feels like a compromise. I feel like just personalizing some things, like maybe the seat pushing me forward a little more, would be great. I don't feel like the suspension needs anything. And I could lay down some miles on this baby. So I hope that was enjoyable and worth watching. Please like and subscribe.